You. Let's see that one. Okay. So,
Ready?
Joy, go ahead. Yeah.
Everyone, welcome to our August TMAC meeting. Let's start with introductions. I am Joy McMurray, TMAC Chair.
Lisa Johnson, TMAC member from the Planning Commission.
Joseph Gandy with Public Works.
Judy Johnson, Public Works Engineering.
Nicole Gordon, TMAC member.
Vern Kiesler, Provo City Engineering.
Hey, on Shore, Provo City Engineering.
Teresa McKay, Provo City Council.
Hannah Sobel, Development Services.
George Hanley, Council.
Okay. We unfortunately had a last minute change in who could attend today, so we don't officially have a quorum. But we're going to continue with our agenda anyway, minus the action items, since most of our agenda was informational anyway. So Vern, let's turn it over to you for the update on the public outreach for the Provo River Bridge.
You want me to run it for you, Vern, or would you like to? Okay. You bet.
Hey, Jeff.
Hi, Jeff.
Yay, Jeff.
Hey, Jeff.
Hey, Jeff. Yeah.
Let's pause this agenda item briefly. Jeff, I'm so glad you came today. We wanted to,
Please grab a lunch.
yes, we like lunch. We would like to take a minute to thank Jeff for his service on TMAC. His term came up in June, and then we didn't have a July meeting. And Jeff has served so faithfully, and I'm so grateful for, like, most dedicated TMAC member I have maybe ever seen. So appreciative of all of your work, especially on the bicycle plan update. Vern, you want to add anything?
Yeah, absolutely. I want to add something. This is for Jeff. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you
your
the
service.
non-monetary gift of $50.
We appreciate Jeff's insights. I've enjoyed having Jeff on the TMAC and learning his perspective, and it was valued. And so we appreciate your input, appreciate your 3 years of service, and we hope to cross paths with you again.
I'll still be around. Neighborhood meetings and the like.
Thanks, Jeff. And I especially want you to know that you are welcome to contribute to our bylaws discussion today if you would like to. I would love to have your input as one of our most experienced TMAC members. Okay, so thank you, Vern. Back to you.
You bet. We wanted to give you an update on the Provo River Bridge and Trail public outreach. We have finished our public outreach, and then a decision was made by Provo City Public Works Director and our team. As you can see, our informational meetings that we attended, not to mention several briefings with the mayor and council leadership and other things that we've done, including updating the TMAC here and there too. So next slide, please. So as everybody's aware, we originally had a couple of choices for opportunities of what the new bridge would look like, what would work well for existing and in the future. There were two proposal cross sections that were recommended out for the public and public comment. One was the 71-foot cross section, and another one was a 99-foot cross section. Through this, what we have learned through public comment is that we had always planned to close 850 West, but what we heard from people was close it sooner. Don't wait until just the design or the construction of the bridge, close it sooner. So we've done a little traffic study, recognized how many trips per day we have making left turns out of there or on into it. And we're going to come up with a plan. We're probably going to close that here, certainly before the end of the year, but my goal is to kind of get it done in the month of September and get traffic patterns well established. Good news about that is we have 700, 750, and 800 that we have a wonderful grid pattern that will distribute the traffic there. So rather than all the traffic making their left onto 850 West and then either going on that road or going down 850 West, they will have the opportunity to take 3 other roads, and hopefully that distributes that fairly evenly. I would suspect that they'll have the choice now of 3 left turn movements, and the gaps will be much better, instead of waiting to get to the bridge and then making the left and not seeing real well because of the sight distance blockage there. So we went out to the public with both of these alternatives. We received some outstanding public comment, both written and verbal, some great ideas. And so let's go what we ended up deciding. Go to the next slide. So these are the 2 options that we had, a 71-foot and a 99-foot, one to meet a minor arterial cross-section, one to meet the arterial cross-section. And what we heard was that the big one was too big and the small one was too small. Basically, that's what we heard, if you want to summarize it in simplicity terms. We'll go to the last slide here. And so what we came up with is an 83-foot build out. So the 83-foot cross-section for the bridge deck will be an interim, will be 3 lanes with bike lane and active transportation and amenity zone. And then when and if, I always like to say if, but when and if the road is ever demanded to be a larger facility to accommodate the traffic, then we are planning for 4 lanes, still maintaining our bike infrastructure, and then reducing the amenity zone and maintaining our active walking or transportation structure. So this has been fairly well received. We have presented this in front of the administration and in front of the council, council leadership and the general city council all together. We've had some good comments, some good questions. For the most part, what we have is we've heard very positive feedback, even on social media, which is not always the case when it comes to social media, right? But I think that we went into this thing figuring it was one or the other. And after Dave Nicholson and I walked every single Provo River Bridge in Provo City and looked at the architecture and looked at the lanes and looked at the width and looked at the amenities, we came back to Gordon and said, Gordon, I think we have a better alternative. Taking in public comment and taking in all that information, and this is what we settled on. So I wanted to provide that information. Any comments or questions? Yes, Joy.
What kind of divider is it in the interim bridge between the traffic lanes, the car lanes and the bike lanes?
So on the interim would be just an 11-foot travel lane, which would match the existing cross-section on either side of the roadway. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, the orange.
Oh,
Yeah, what
those
is
are
that?
delineators. So they'll be bright white, yellow plastic delineators to kind of separate the lane of travel from the bicyclist. Yeah.
The plastic cushion.
So the plow's gonna give you grief over that?
They already have. And the thing about it is, hey, they're replaceable, right? And so we have expert snowplow operators. The challenge with this part is the bike lane then doesn't get plowed, right? That's the concern that I have. But yeah, our snowplow operators have mentioned, and I take this design to them and they push back and I push back and we come to a compromise, and that's the way it works.
Was there a reason that the interim has the flexible delineators and the full build out doesn't?
We don't want to plan that far, yeah.
So is that a concrete median in the full build out and not gonna be installed?
That's correct. It matches the current cross-section.
Delineators.
And then you would just adjust the concrete barriers if and when the full build out happens, that are the walk, in the bike lane.
Yeah, those
'Cause
movable
those are
concrete
different,
barriers.
different widths, right?
So, yeah, that's, you know, we've received a lot of different opinions on that from bicyclists. some will ask, well, why didn't you put the concrete barrier between the cars and the bike lane? That seems to be a better scenario. We do have a trail on the south side there. It depends what type of bicyclist you talk to. If you talk to someone that's very confident in their ability to ride with traffic, they want the concrete barrier where it's placed right now. If you talk to a family of me, who's a little less comfortable in that type of traffic, I would like to be on the opposite side of the concrete barrier, in a bike. But it really just depends who you talk to.
And it won't be hard. I mean, it looks like it's 16.5 foot versus 10 foot later, right, between the railing and the concrete barrier. It's not too hard to move that concrete later on?
It depends on the design. And we're in design right now. We're not even we're about maybe 30%. We hope to get to 60% by the end of September.
Vern, one thought about for what it's worth, about biking, in more opinion. I mean, I don't think there's any, from an engineering and safety point of view, I don't think there's any argument that barrier is safer for bikers. The issue, I think, isn't so much that, but I'm a big fan of dedicated lanes, safer, regardless of what the brave people say. The issue for me is that it's a bridge, and so if you're a biker and you're biking along, and then suddenly it asks you to get off the road, you're not going to do it if you just say to yourself, okay, I'm going to quickly jump over ride over this bridge and I'm going to be on the other side in no time. So what you're going to end up with is people riding on a bridge that actually doesn't have a lane, when they should be on the other side of the barrier. So that's probably one argument for just leaving it as is. We'll prefer to stay on the bike lane, and if people really don't want to be on the street at all, the walking path carefully.
Yeah, and that's what we've experienced, is a lot of great comment like that. We appreciate that, Councilor Hadley. We'll see what we come up with the final design. We're, at this point, our preliminary data shows us lowering the bridge by 2 feet. But then we ran into an issue yesterday, and so, they said, well, it might come up 10 inches. So, every inch matters for site visibility and clearance of the trail underneath there. And I think Noah understands this, but you're dealing with inches, and it's important. So, yeah, it just depends on what we're able to do with the scour on the river as it comes in at the angle. That's, believe it or not, has a big impact on what we can do with the bridge height and whatnot. So,
If you want to get a real user experience with riding in a 6-foot lane with a concrete barrier next to you, ride across the railroad tracks on Lakeview Parkway. Because I had a near-death experience on that last week, where some person who did not seem to have a home was coming towards me at a very high speed in the middle of the sidewalk, because there's only one, so you have 2 directional on right there. Just yelling, I don't have brakes, I don't have brakes. But like headed straight for me, and because of the concrete barrier, it was either, there was nowhere to go. Or jumping the wall into the traffic.
Yeah.
were you on the sidewalk or on the bike
I was
lane?
on the sidewalk because I don't dare ride across there on the road. There's just not any room.
If we could turn back the hands of time on those 2 structures, I think we'd design those differently.
If there was another sidewalk on the other side, it'd be even better because you wouldn't have that. Like, but I've even seen professional bikers ride on that sidewalk there just because it's so high speed and the shoulder isn't big enough.
I would say.
But you do feel very trapped. You're like, I've got the chain link fence that actually isn't adhered very well, and I could fall through the hole to the tracks below, or I've got this concrete barrier with 50-mile-an-hour traffic. So
Well, that's, yeah, I mean.
you do sort of feel trapped when you're in a place like that. It makes you feel more secure from the traffic, but it also makes you feel trapped if there's any conflict or passing.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a short distance. If you were, I mean, yeah, I think you might remember the photos I showed from Germany, but, you know, their tradition, there's a long tradition of coming in and off of sidewalks there. So they have these like really brightly striped directions whenever you're being guided back onto the street as opposed to the dedicated portion of the sidewalk. But whenever you're sharing with pedestrians, you have a different level of pavement so that there's a little bit of a curve. So it's very clear that bikers are always supposed to remain in this. There's never this sort of input. Anything goes here, then you end up, well, that's a weird exception. But even like the sidewalks on 9 East, there's no sense of as to, you know, okay, people going downhill should be on the right side or on the left side, or pedestrians should be here or there. It's just all like, I hope everyone's cooperating because here I come kind of thing.
With an occasional sign that says pedestrians have the right of way.
Yeah, but I mean, when that gets more crowded, that's going to be a problem. But for such a short distance, it seems like, I hate to say it because I mean, it would be terrible if something happened to a biker there because they didn't have the option. But I do, essentially, right? I mean, they would be able to ride on.
It could be on the 10-foot walking path.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very short crossover, and it's a quick decision that someone might make. They might see nobody there and say, oh, I'd rather be inside, and they can go inside. I mean, I assume that would be an option, or is that going to be, so the bike lane off curve, and so there's no way onto the pedestrian portion?
I haven't seen the design yet on the south side or the north side for that type of pedestrian improvement. The trail on the south side, we want to tie in as far as we can. So you'll have 10-foot, not just over the bridge, but a little bit further on each side of the bridge. It's going to be tight right there where we're closing 850 and where they come back down because we got to have access to the Provo River Trail. And so I'm not sure how that's going to look yet. All good points.
Thanks for doing this, Vern. Yeah. Really nice compromise there. Now we'll go with Vern again on our construction project update.
I think it's important to let the TMAC know about some of the construction projects that we're doing. Everybody knows we overlaid Temp View and we did Rhodamillan and overlay out on West Center Street. We put a third lane, we extended our third lane out to the turnoff to go to Amelia Earhart. So we have a left turn lane there that's continuous now, or two-way left turn lane. And we had this bidded out in January or early spring to do these two projects. I think they both turned out wonderfully. But the two projects that are still under construction is Canyon Road and University, and I'm sure you guys have seen that one. This was supposed to be done by September 4th before school starts at BYU. And we ran into a little bit of a snag with a utility that it was an abandoned utility, so no one knew it was there, and it was in the place of our new storm drain. So we had to do a change order. We're pulling out the old storm drain, putting in the new storm drain, and extending that past Zions Bank. And then the hedges got in the way of the sidewalk. So over the years, we owned 1 foot back of that sidewalk, or 2 feet. Or there wasn't a sidewalk there, but where the right-of-way was, we owned a foot back of that. And the hedges have just grown over the years, right? That's what landscaping does. And it protruded out into our right-of-way. So we had to work with BYU, and they lost their hedges. If you go by it, all the hedges are gone. And so we couldn't pour our 6-foot sidewalk when the hedges are infiltrated into our. So the hedges are gone. We had to do a change order there so we could get our 6-foot sidewalk. The other option was to reduce our sidewalk. I said, absolutely not. I said, hedges can grow back. We placed a 5-foot sidewalk or 4.5, that ain't gonna work. There's a lot of pedestrian traffic, especially
Do you
when.
really suggest the sidewalk over the hedges?
Huh?
They suggested giving it the sidewalk over the hedges.
I did, and they agreed. To my surprise, they concurred on that. So all those hedges that you see separating Canyon Road and the parking lot are now gone. And they'll landscape that back nicely. But with the potential of the property developing west, BYU West, I couldn't in good conscience reduce that sidewalk. So that's gonna extend into about the third week of December. I'll let you know that. So,
Is there a mitigation for all the pedestrians that are going to be attending art classes?
so we're gonna push them up to Cougar. Okay, we're gonna detour them one block up, Cougar and back. We hope to have that traffic signal and that pedestrian movement installed, like I said, the third week of September. We had a football game coming up on Saturday, August 31st. Most of the people that park there go straight up Canyon, so that shouldn't be an issue. But we'll button that down just like we did for the July 4th parade. So that's one. Any comments or questions on that update?
People are gonna cross at 10:60 north, they're just gonna.
Yeah.
Nobody's gonna walk up to.
The good news is there's lots of parking for the classes, art classes and the other classes they're doing just north of old BYU High, or old Provo High. And so we know that some people actually drive to that class and park there. So,
Don't you mean BYU Medical School?
yeah. The right place for it. It's right next to the hospital,
Logical
right?
decision.
I haven't admitted
No
it.
official.
Let's go to Third South. This is the bigger project. This is a complete reconstruct. We have run into a lot of issues with this one, but I want to let you know, beginning Monday, instead of closing this down for 2 30-day closures and doing it half and half, we are going to close the entire road down for 35 days one time and do the entire concrete pour. Starts Monday. It's going to be painful, okay? 35 days of having that road closed down.
How many businesses are on that street?
4, 7-Eleven,
Japanese auto repair.
the Japanese auto repair, the farmers, State Farm can get access from Freedom. And then there's the cafe on the other end. They're the ones and then there's the hotel. I forgot about the little hotel there. The emissions place can get access off of 4th West, so we're okay there. And that's my big concern. The residents have already been walking. They park on the side streets and walk to their houses on the frontage. But this is, you gotta be off the concrete for 7 to 10 days because this is a UDOT concrete floor.
Does
So,
that mean there's no crosses either, so you
Yes.
can't get across it at Freedom? That is gonna be such a snarl.
it is.
Welcome back to school.
We
Wow.
are detouring everybody on 5th West down to 920 North if they're going eastbound. If they're going westbound on 3rd South, we're taking them up to 1st North and detour them on that 4-lane road on 1st North over to 5th West. So that will be the official detour. Bikes and ped detour will be 2nd South and 4th South. But Lisa's right, there will be no access cross, north-south access.
Ever since they
across.
made it no left turns on all of the intersections on University, Freedom has become the way for people in the south to get to the north, so that's gonna be really tricky.
It's always been the best kept secret in Provo if you want to go north and south. It isn't anymore, right?
For the next 35 days.
But with that, instead of sneaking into February and delaying the project possible another construction season, we think we can have this finished in December. So that's a positive.
What is happening with the Canyon Road overlay?
I'm sorry,
The
Catrice?
Canyon Road overlay? That's the other one you mentioned, that,
Oh, Canyon Road and the intersection at University? Or,
oh,
It's
I
not
thought
the
you
overlay.
mentioned the, okay, never mind.
So just the two projects that I'm working on, there is a new traffic signal being put forth and designed right now at 900 South and State Street, over by the cemetery. That is going to be a very advantageous traffic light for active transportation. And it will also provide a better gap for cars making lefts and everything else. So, down the way, downstream. But that light's under design, and so that's positive news there. We're working with UDOT on that light, so just want to let you know about that one too.
That one, the UDOT paid for it?
Yeah, we're paying for the upgrade, a little bit of a betterment there with the appearance of the traffic signals. So we'll powder coat those black as opposed to the gray steel. Black poles, yeah, on the poles and arms. Looks a little nicer, especially next to the, with
And that
that.
is corrosion as well? Or is it not?
You know, it does help strengthen that a little bit, along the rust or the corrosion. Any comments or questions on those two construction projects, or three? The 5600 North traffic signal on University Avenue will go to a public meeting. UDOT will need to conduct a public meeting on that one. And the reason why is because it's a two-phase, next one up. Thank you, right there, at Canyon Road and 5600 North. The reason why that's going to go out to a public meeting is because left turns off Canyon Road will be restricted until the full signal can be completed. So,
I just want to get a perspective of,
So is this,
Where Canyon Road runs right before you have to choose whether you're going up the canyon or going up.
okay, oh, yeah, that's very far north.
And that road used to dead end, and now it's gonna connect with the
No, it's-
Qualtrics development?
no, it won't. It
It
won't.
used to just go right on? You just go right up the canyon?
You'll still be able to do that for phase one of the traffic signal.
No, I mean, it used to dead end on the west side of University Avenue. That, because that's where that new development came in and like revamped those buildings to have like a little strip mall there, where half the parking lot's in Orem.
So what's the vision with this?
So there'll be a new traffic light there, but the reason why UDOT has to hold a public meeting on it is there will be, if you're coming off of Canyon Road, you cannot turn left back onto University Avenue and go south.
Right now or ever?
Just the first phase until the traffic signal is fully developed.
Can you do it right now, since it, does it let you go both ways?
You can go left.
Went north.
You can go left.
People are doing it.
Yeah, there's that hook, that tight hook there, the left turn
Yeah.
there, but it's just a stop sign.
not many
Right.
people do it.
No.
There are a couple people that do it during peak hour, but there must be really great.
So what's the timeline on this? I didn't know it was happening anytime soon.
They've been delayed, because they have to hold that public meeting. So they're trying to hire a PI firm to conduct the public meeting and then do that.
Isn't that 5600 North, isn't that gonna connect with the development on the west side of the river? There'll be a bridge there too?
No, that's not connecting there.
Just that there's gonna be a lot of employees.
Is
Well-
Qualtrics to the south of 5600?
I thought they did.
Qualtrics is
Yeah.
way
I thought they were on the west side of the river.
Yeah, that's
Down,
not,
down,
that's
down.
not, yeah, they're further.
Well, he's talking about the new development.
Is there a development going in there on the?
Yeah, I
There's
think
stuff
it's,
right there.
Enormous development.
What's that going to be?
I think it's in between the Heritage School property and this new development, am I
do
wrong?
think that's gonna be a bridge, isn't it?
I
don't
thought so
think
on the plan.
I think what you're seeing is, you're gonna see that we did a boundary adjustment with Orem City, and you're gonna see that Ryan Smith residential development there. I can't remember if that bridge is in, no, that's probably in Provo.
I'm pretty sure.
I thought the bridge was like the east part of the development.
The old Carterville Road,
They had to make it, they had to redo it. That was part of our, I thought, when
Well,
we approved it.
it may be,
Is Ryan Smith's development south of 5600 North, or is it west of the river? I thought it was west of the river.
It's west of the
So
river.
there's the bridge right
It's
there.
west of the river.
I thought that was part of it, but maybe it was just a pedestrian.
There definitely is part of it, but also it's
There's that Starling Park, that little hidden park right there that you bike through.
But he also owns all that property to the south of here too, by the way.
Yeah.
So,
So what is being built?
well,
He's
there's
got
gonna be
a-
Traffic
some-
light.
Well, besides the traffic light.
Ryan Smith
What is the traffic
has-
light leading to?
He has, Ryan Smith, okay, that one right there is like a strip mall, the white roof, that was like an old warehouse that somebody
Yeah,
fixed
and there's
up,
bike paths there.
right? So that's
Yeah.
just been nice, it's got a facelift, but Ryan Smith has a development that's like an office complex.
three huge office buildings.
Kind of like like a mini, like what you hear with Apple Campus or Google Campus, or like,
Oh.
Like a startup
Okay.
incubator
Okay,
with 250 townhomes.
and that's part of Provo.
yes,
Yeah.
the very north end.
Okay.
See, and I've only seen the 250 townhomes. I haven't.
Oh,
seen
there's
the other
three huge office complexes.
Okay.
And there
I-
has been a conversation about a potential development of the gravel pit.
Yeah,
Over
absolutely.
Still coming back to us, right?
Well, he's just decided to do townhomes that will fit in the,
Sewage.
For the gravel
Okay,
pit?
let's take that sentence. He just decided to do townhomes that will fit in the sewage.
Yes, exactly. Is there anything unclear about that?
Yeah.
Everyone will want to live there.
So our sewer
Okay.
capacity was lacking up there, and for a little bit further explanation. right?
Thank you.
Okay,
Kayon, are you aware of any other construction projects we need to update TMAC on?
No, the big ones are, I mean, these ones.
And Noah asked the question, how did that signal at 5600 North warrant a traffic signal? Is due to safety for both pedestrian and bicyclist safety.
Yeah, because
That's how
sometimes
it
we
was.
take sometimes to avoid University Avenue, we'll go all the way down Canyon Road, but then you get to this intersection and you have to go onto University.
but isn't also the future development that's now been approved?
Oh, yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, it wouldn't happen.
New development, yeah.
Unfortunately, UDOT does not usually act in a proactive way. They usually wait and react. Unless you've got something approved, and then they will sometimes work with you on a traffic impact study to say something's imminent. But usually they wait until there's enough
Oh, these are.
fatalities or something like that, you know, or that it doesn't function.
And those fatalities, I mean, that's one of the criteria for them to take an action. So before that, they literally cannot justify why they're putting a signal or why they're doing whatever.
That's why there's one at 900 South on Sixth Street.
Yeah, we have fatality there.
There are fatalities there.
okay, next item, Vern has kindly created a draft bylaw for us since we discovered we didn't have any bylaws. Are you going to lead us through this session, Vern?
Sure, I think we can go page by page if that's what you would like. If everybody's prepared to come, do you need,
I remember one, my card
I've
number.
got my copy.
You got your copy?
Yeah.
Who else needs copies? Who else wants copies?
I want one.
Hopefully everyone read these ahead of time as requested and is ready to comment and discuss.
Yeah, if you scroll down to the bottom, it's not,
There's no 10-point.
That was my idea.
Section on waiting.
I was reading through the ordinance says that you guys can adopt bylaws. And so I inquired about bylaws. There weren't any. So, the ordinance allows you to create these.
Let's create,
And again, we aren't going to be able to adopt these today. So the good news is, we can take your comments and put together a final draft for next meeting too.
I have a couple of small copy editing things I'll just show you later.
Great.
Those aren't-
You want to start with each paragraph one by one, 1.1, or you just want to do page first? Okay, page one.
so you can copy everything out.
You can
You
say if you
can-
like, and there's a couple of copy editings on page 1.
So that's all right.
I have a question on item 1.2. I'm always concerned with making sure I do things properly on TMAC, and just saying that upon taking office, all members of the TMAC shall familiarize themselves with the foregoing, like it says, familiarity with state statutes and local ordinances and rules affecting TMAC. And then we need to maintain that knowledge. Anyone want to comment on how we do that effectively? That seems like a big ask to say, be familiar with all of the state things that might be relevant.
I would put links in there that give you those documents, and I would specify what, what subsections you really want them to understand, so that you're asking them to read something that's realistic for them to read.
So you'd like the list of the documents?
With a live link, if this is something they would have, or it's just something that when somebody gets called, that Kahan or somebody sends out,
It could be
here's
something that,
the documents we
Yeah,
want you to read, so that you,
yeah, but hand us something other than, there's no way they're gonna have time to go search through all of state statutes to find anything that's relevant.
yeah, I think if you could narrow it down for them, that would be useful.
Great.
And then maybe you could put in there, these will be reviewed annually at the June meeting where we elect new officers or something. You know, like maybe say, if there's something in here that says when new officers are elected, that we could just throw that into that same business meeting where we, so that there's something written in your bylaws that
Annual training.
include that annual training.
It could be nice to, review those.
Got it.
It just seems like something I didn't want to be accountable for without some help.
We'll, work on that one.
Okay.
Along with that, I think just generally, the more user-friendly you make this language, the more likely it is that your TMAC members will know what they're accountable for. Because this is, though it needs to have the right legalese for that purpose, this is something that is specifically going to be read by your layman for the most part. And you want them to be able, like, I'm looking at 1.1B, I'm like, why is that even in here? And what is it exactly saying? Like, you don't want them to have to work too hard, or when you hand them their welcome package, they won't read it, or they will, and they will have no idea what they read, or they'll run away screaming because it's too much for them or something. And obviously, we're not morons, but I'm always about making your ordinance that the public interfaces with be as user-friendly as possible, so that there's no question about what people are reading unless it's open for interpretation.
I condensed these down, from the planning commission bylaws, which are 12 pages.
It's a
I
beautiful
thought I
5-page.
got rid of a lot of the legalese.
You do, but sometimes when you're not familiar with that, which is, I think, you want some of those voices on your committee. You want to make sure that they can understand what you're.
I think it was pretty user-friendly.
It is.
Reading through. I actually really liked 1.1B, because we need to understand the difference between bylaws and statutes, and I think that was helpful.
Since we are on that 1.1B, Jeff made a comment. Jeff believes that where it says see section 10.2, that there is no section 10.2, and that might be 6.2.
6.2?
Yeah, we're talking about maybe.
Thank you.
Because of the aforementioned abridgment.
Absolutely.
Probably. I figured it was probably something you could copy and paste.
Okay, any other comments from page 1 from anybody?
Just out of curiosity, how long are the bylaws for the city council?
We have like a handbook.
You have a whole handbook? Okay.
And the planning commission ones have recently been abridged. Like, we
Oh,
went
did
through
you
them
guys?
and we just re-adopted them this past year because they were all over the place.
Perfect.
I had a question about the office of TMAC. Is there
I was
actually,
gonna say, we should state where that is as well.
Well,
it
they
says
do
it's in
say it.
engineering,
on 1.4.
is it Public Works?
Oh,
That's what it
there
says.
it is.
It's in Public Works, but I just didn't know if there was like an actual TMAC office, but
It's,
if somebody cares
Never mind,
enough to
it's
find the
there.
official bylaws, they'll just talk to someone who knows.
Judy's reception desk.
There you
Just to
go.
get an extra label.
Folder of the bylaws.
Yeah.
Great. Judy's desk, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Others? Okay, page 2.
Noah already pointed out typographical.
Yeah, I've got those two.
Okay.
But, I mean, should we just do them, you wanna do them right now?
No, you can give them to me afterwards, and I'll put them in.
Just a telephone.
Yeah.
Oh,
Why-
well, I don't
Yeah.
know.
Why is it?
You want the ones on the first page? Yeah, I'll just
Yeah.
show them to you later. I've got them already.
Okay.
Items on page 2. There's several, there's a couple important ones.
I don't remember what
Okay.
my page number.
So I'll start us off, but, 2.3, I was interested in discussing, failure to attend how many meetings means you're no longer on TMAC. Vern had suggested 6 regular meetings in a year, and then you're resigning by absence. Do you want to discuss that number?
I think it should be 3.
I was gonna say, I could go
Once a
down.
month, that's half of the, or maybe,
Once a
3
quarter?
consecutive meetings or something.
Well, this is saying that it's without the consent of the chair, so this is just like a no-show. If you hear it with the chair beforehand, in theory, you could miss every meeting by default.
Right, that's why I feel like the number should be lower.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Because when you consent, that's not no-show. You basically have shared that you're not gonna come.
And it's not automatic, it's just grounds.
Who makes that decision?
That is correct.
We recommend to the mayor that the mayor.
I mean,
The mayor and the council would have to do the advice and consent of council. It's not like TMAC or staff has power to kick someone off of TMAC. It's already been through the mayor and council, so.
So let's say we say, if you are no-showed 3 times, and so does then the chair say to Vern, we've got a no-show, and then Vern says to the mayor, we have grounds for removal, what do you say, and they review it, or like, what does that mean when you translate it from paper to action?
Like that last clause of 2.3 explains the process after. Chair may then recommend to the mayor.
I asked, people are clamoring to be on the TMAC.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, in his defense, it's not like people are probably standing outside Vern's office trying to get on this committee. It's probably semi-laborious to find people who will actually accept it,
Correct.
and then they can't make it, so.
Yeah, but like what we were talking about earlier, like, if you just don't even say you're coming or not, that says
Yeah,
you're
I'm
not interested and you're not invested in something, and maybe you're not the voice we're looking for.
So my first year on TMAC, I think this is an important question because there was a gentleman appointed at a similar time to me. He came for 2 or 3 meetings until the issue he cared about was resolved.
Oh, really?
And then he never came again, but he continued to take up that TMAC spot. And it makes it really hard to form a quorum when you have someone who's just essentially
Yeah.
AWOL all the time. So I actually think it's an important part of our bylaws. Because I feel like that was detrimental to TMAC. We could have had someone else there who would actually be helping us.
It's a great experience, great example of an experience.
Not $800.
I mean, I've seen similar things too, where people are on a committee and don't care about it, and it leaves a hole. And so, if there's a way to say, hey, I'm concerned about this.
I think I would typically say maybe recommend once a quarter, but recognizing that you have the ability to maybe not meet in July and December, maybe that's only 10 meetings, and so do you feel good about 3 or 4? What do you guys want?
Yes.
Yeah, you can't.
Lisa
make
suggested
6 is way
3.
too many.
What is without the recorded consent of the chair?
Good question.
Kind of like an unexcused absence.
Not excused.
Yeah, because I spoke with people today, and
Somebody falls ill and they're hospitalized
yeah,
or whatever, you're not gonna. So, it's just a weird word, consent, recorded consent.
Recorded
chair.
also seems odd, it could be.
Without the knowledge or without,
Without
Notifying?
notification.
I like notification over
To the chair.
consent.
Notification
Without
or,
notification to the chair.
I haven't let you know.
yeah, I was like, no one's ever
It's not
told,
like I'm coming
rarely
to
told
Joy
me.
and saying my daughter's getting married, I'm not showing up to TMAC.
Right.
Others know that,
Could be
but
notification to, yeah, we could change
Just
that
find
to
a
staff,
TMAC email and reply all.
to the chair or staff. But, yeah,
okay,
okay, make it too broad then. There's no accountability.
here's the part of this too that maybe this isn't addressing is, I could call you every month and say I'm not coming,
But
and
that's
I'm
what I was
still
gonna
not
say.
here.
Maybe we should cover both.
I think that
With
there's 2
consent
separate
and
things.
without, exactly.
Because I want to say that for planning commissioners who say you can't miss 3 consecutive meetings. But there's also that no-show, you know, like, I could have a legitimate excuse and I could tell you, and under this, I'm safe, and I could come ever, and as long as I tell you first, I'm still on a committee, which doesn't give you a live body that's useful to your discussion.
Are there grounds for just removing committee members? Not
Um,
necessarily at will, but.
there is in here, yeah, but, I mean, I haven't. We're recommending,
TMAC's a fairly powerless board.
I'm just wondering if there's already a process in place for that, where you could judge them to kind of be a
There wasn't
non-contributing
last
member.
time, because I
let me check
Not
the ordinance.
expressly stated, maybe it's covered ambiguously, broadly already.
Yeah, attendance may not necessarily be the best or the only measure. Well, there are lots of.
How would you, might be participation, but then how do you define participation if you're not attending any of the meetings? There's not a lot of other stuff.
And Jen, like, and I asked at the time, I said, this gentleman, I went to the city staff and said, he hasn't been here for a year. No one's seen him. He never emails. He doesn't respond. Can we remove him? And they're like, no, there's nothing we can do. I said,
Well, right, but Lisa's mentioning, I mean, that seems like obvious. If they're not communicating, then I think they're in big trouble. But Lisa's bringing up a scenario in which someone is communicating, but they still aren't ever coming. And that may be such a rare thing that it probably isn't.
But see, I think that's actually more likely to happen, where somebody is, you know, as long as I tell you every month I won't be there because Judy's not ordering a meal for me. You know, like I RSVP'd and said I wouldn't be there, but there's no ramifications of that decision. I let you know, and now I'm on the committee for no
It
reason.
might not need its own section, there could be a section in here, are the processes for removing members for
Somewhere else.
any reason deemed necessary by.
And first, we just talk to the mayor and get it removed anyway.
Yeah.
It's just the best that power in the chair. Anything the chair feels warrants it.
Well, you also
no,
don't want
I don't like you.
no, I know.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you don't want to give that too much power to the chair.
What if it were me, Jeff? Like, it's a
You're a
chair,
bad
Mr.
guy.
Dictator.
Joy won't always.
I will not always be here.
She interrupts too much.
I do.
No, that's what you're saying about
Yeah.
me in private.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
That's my grounds for removal.
Okay. I think it's nice to have it codified, what the expectation is for a TMAC member.
I mean, you don't wanna obligate yourself to have to remove somebody if they have a certain number of absences, because you never know what the.
Right.
But you want strong enough language in there that says, you know, I mean, maybe you could say up to a certain amount of absences are, excused absences are allowed, but beyond that, there will have to be a this person will be something like that, where, because I mean, there could be really pressing circumstances, right? And it may be the kind of situations happens on city council where it's like, oh, I'm gonna be gone, I'm gonna be unavailable for 6 months or something, and the body has to decide, is that reasons enough to just move ahead and replace this person, or do we wanna hold on for the time being? I mean, I think it would be person to person, a case by case basis where you. But if they're just not communicating, like a pretty easy one to say, you know, absence without notification, are only going to be tolerated up to a certain.
Joe, you had originally recommended 3. How does everybody feel about just putting 3 in there?
3's great for me.
As long as
It
it's
triggers a
optional.
review or something, or.
Yeah, I think that's appropriate. I think trees.
How about you say failure to attend 3 regular meetings without notification,
Yeah, that's what I made.
Of the chair.
notification.
To the chair, or.
Notifying
to the chair or staff, or, you know, like, I think it's okay to put staff in there.
Okay, I'll put staff in there.
Because we have to have our communication come through Cajon anyway, so having Joy be in charge of that makes that weird.
Okay, so changed. And also, you can change it. It's not a one and done, although most committees and stuff, once they're adopted, they never look at them again, right?
That often, yeah, let's try to get it right.
So we also have, I mean, that, we just said, if you miss 3 without telling us,
Okay.
do you want to put some twist of a language in there that says with or without notification may be grounds for removal, or, you know, like, If you miss 3 meetings with or without notifying us, we may review whether your membership should continue. I don't know. Like, you don't want to make it easy to kick them off because like you were saying, it's not beating down the door to be part of it, but you also want them to be a contributing voice. I don't know if you want to put that twist in there. That's just a suggestion.
I don't think it's gonna be a problem. Maybe we can go with the basic stuff first, and
Yeah.
if it becomes a problem, we can modify it.
Okay. The next one, 3.1, the big question of the election of the chair. How often and when do we do that? Comments. One complication I see is that, like, for example, city council terms begin in January and elections happen in January, right, for the chair. For TMAC, most of our terms begin and end in the summer. So there's this mismatch between, like, it would make sense to go to calendar year, except that then you'd have, like, one of the further ones says that if the chair is no longer a member of TMAC, the vice chair takes over for the remainder of the term. That could frequently happen if you have some of your most senior TMAC members who are done in July serving as chairs, then the vice chair would constantly, for the second half of the year, automatically become the chair.
Whenever the mayor approves them.
Is it?
Yeah,
Well,
I'm on
looking
the
at
little
our-
bit of-
almost always-
Only for the
Yeah,
temporary
wow.
ones, but I think the terms do generally start at the same time.
They've all been,
Terms
most of them are
expire
June.
in June, and terms expire in December according to the ordinance.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so right now,
There's only one
you
difference.
bring up
There's
a
only one
really good point. Maybe July and January are not the best months to hold those elections. And if you want to stagger those to like the beginning of the second or
What
fourth,
about,
third quarter. or
what
something.
about doing it the month before the terms expire? Like in May, when we're less likely to cancel a meeting because it's not the summertime.
March? Yeah, I mean, whatever you guys want. I'm
And
happy to
I'm
put that.
asking, I have no secret opinion, I have no problem doing it in January, but I think TMAC has to be mindful of the fact that, like, you don't elect someone who's done in July or done at the end of June. And I know we're running low on time, but, anyone, opinions on this?
I would vote for the month before your term ends, so that there's,
Everyone's terms are staggered, so.
but most of them are
But
June.
do you even want to meet in the month of December? That's my question. Last time, in fact, I
The
haven't
last
looked this
couple
year.
years, we
Sometimes
haven't
we do.
even had one in
Yeah, yeah,
December.
There was, I actually was looking over old agendas, we did meet 2 Decembers ago.
Do December.
But,
Or just do May then.
I would just do it in May because we haven't canceled a May meeting. People aren't on their summer vacations yet. And it's right before the terms end, so you were not leadershipless in that interim. That's what I would recommend.
You guys like May?
what, Jeff?
I got it.
Can you have an opinion? I specifically told you to have an opinion. Ask, requested. Please have opinions.
Have an
Let's
opinion
change
or
it to
hand
May.
over the cookies.
Hand over the cookies.
So perhaps May. And I do think it's important to have the election before the new chair has to start the term, so that would make sense.
If you have the election in May, does that mean
You guys don't get to be.
you guys can never be on the, that's true.
Well, remember, December and June are the months that terms expire, and it, just like this is August, and I submitted a name for the central neighborhood, about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and so it gets vetted in the mayor's office, and then it goes to the council meeting for advice and consent. And so there is a process that takes a little longer. So I'm just mentioning that it takes a little bit.
The likelihood of a new guy being elected anyway, and
Be remote.
people don't leave all at the same time.
Well, let's put it in, and we can amend it next month before the vote if we need to. And we have,
So I heard May, is that correct, Julie?
I think so.
Okay.
We might need an exception this year. For me.
Yeah.
I'm about to hit 2 years in September.
She's done.
And, well, no, I mean, so I don't know what to do with that. That's a separate conversation in our bylaws, I guess.
Well, and that's a point, Joy, when's your term expire?
Next June.
Next June, oh, okay. Wow, May works great.
How about you put in there
What about 2 options?
language, how about you put in their language, if at any time the chair needs to resign, an election will be held
Well, I mean,
at whatever time of year
it's
that
all
is.
taught by Article 6 too, that says at any time, for if you need to, you can forget the bylaws and do whatever you want.
Yeah, I like that, yeah, I like that one.
quite-
I'll look for,
quite-
or maybe
That's
just throw them out when
implied,
it's
but-
convenient.
The rest of the bylaws down to Article.
There you go, do whatever you want.
So we do have a chair resigning from office or no longer becomes a member of TMAC, so we kind of have that in the next paragraph.
But we don't have a vice chair right now either.
And we just lost the vice chair, so so I'm gonna continue to
miss any
serve for
meetings.
the foreseeable future.
But see, that's what it says, a special election shall be held at the next regular meeting of TMAC to select
The new chair,
a
okay,
vice chair to complete the term.
we'll need to do that then.
But it seems to me if you're gonna have a special election to elect a vice chair, that you should also elect a chair, because the reason the vice chair is taking over is because the chair is resigning. So maybe put that in there. Select a chair and vice chair to
Special
complete the
elections
term.
of either chair or vice chair ever. Fine.
Yeah, because it says, if the chair resigns, the vice chair shall succeed him, but if the vice chair resigns or isn't available, then
Or
You have a
succeeds the
special-
chairman's office.
Right, or succeeds to the chairman's office.
That's one of the
And I should
possibilities.
make that chair, I'll take out
Okay.
that last part.
Chairperson.
Okay.
Anything else on page 2?
Just note, Joy, that we're.
Yeah.
Well, it says in our bylaws, finish the item we're working on, which is our bylaws.
I do wonder, in our neighborhood program, we just changed it that someone can be, you know, in leadership or whatever, longer than 1 year if that's desired. Sometimes we found problems that people don't want to do it. And if someone's good at it and people want them to do it, then
No,
Yeah,
that's true.
let
I
them
was thinking
continue.
of Clancy, who was chair for
3 years,
3 years, his entire second term.
maybe more, maybe 4.
does it have a term length in here?
It does,
I
at the
do.
end of 3.1, a chair may not succeed him or herself as chair.
No, but how long is the term length?
It says we
January to January,
Okay.
or May to May, I guess.
need to make it, so 1 year,
I think that's reasonable. I do,
to have a new chair every year.
yeah,
Noah?
unless you want it to be 2 years, it's just,
I think
Well-
it just should be up, it's gonna be independent, like, I don't think it should be limited. Every year, look at it and do a new vote.
Do a vote,
But if the same person gets voted in, that's what's desired, and they want to do it, then so be it.
Well, that's real easy, because then we can just remove that one sentence that the chair.
you can't have the
Yeah,
same
you
chair.
Do we want to have a term limit of some kind, however?
I don't know, because it's by the consent of everybody. So if people don't want them to stick around,
I feel like, you know, you're going to abuse the power. Joy,
The tricky thing
being
is-
the chairman of
This
the
is a very,
TMAC.
I feel like I should recuse myself from this item.
I'm not sure, once again, who's clamoring to be the TMAC chair, and is
No
going to
one.
like,
Exactly.
rule with an iron fist.
So when
and,
I
like,
was,
intimidate
when I
everyone in
was
the
planning
TMAC.
commission chair, I was just getting really confident and good at it,
And then you
and
were
my
done.
term
And
was
then you're
over.
done.
So that's why the 1 year, sometimes it's nice to have that second year, but it also gives a whole lot more people the opportunity to lead, and you get a different perspective.
Right,
I think we should go through the vote again, but just leave it open.
But if somebody's still in the room and there's no reason to elect them except that you don't like their breath or whatever, like, there is that. Somebody could still be the chair
Your
just
breath
because.
is breathing. We can get breath mints. That's really the problem.
They watch your car keys.
No, I need your bike.
Exactly.
Over there today.
That was me. I was the only one with a bike and I took it.
Rounds for you.
so we could take that sentence out, I think. That would be fine. I didn't even have strong feelings on that.
I took it out.
Okay.
I'm listening intently, so I'll take a new
Okay.
one.
Anything else on page 2? Page 3? Page 4?
Well, I had a question on page 3. What's the budget authority? Maybe I'm not
Which
familiar.
item?
Where's that at?
3.3.2 is responsible for providing staff services to TMAT within the provision of budget authority appropriated by the municipal.
That means we can't ask them to spend 500 hours on a project for us that is not the mayor's priority.
And I think there's always a budget or a line item for our committees, for food and for your time and stuff like that.
Okay, that's all.
Page 4. Go ahead, Jeff.
Back to 3?
Sorry, it's Article 4. I get 3 and 4. It runs, Article 4 is this Article 4 generally is the thing I think that I thought, whoa, what does it mean to have ex parte contact or speak opinion?
Yeah,
And what is
4.3.
the pay?
4.3 got a little scary for me.
Yeah, and
like-
that kind of follows some, planning commission rules and believe me, planning commission is not allowed to have ex parte conversation. Because but even though they're just 100% a recommending body as well, right? Everything you recommend goes to the council.
how many times people come up to me, just like at the grocery store or in the neighborhood and be like, hey, I'm like, I actually can't talk to you about this. I'm not an elected official, so. Well, George.
It's different for elected officials and planning commission members, and so I did kind of follow the planning commission side on that because we don't want our TMAC members to be lobbied in any way, shape, or form if there comes a vote or a recommendation that you have to make as a member of TMAC.
So it's really more for our protection in some ways.
Is 4.4, do we need to have a caveat in there for being able to vote if attending remotely?
I believe you should, but remember this original draft is pretty old. And if you guys want that, where they can vote by electronic methods of the day, that's fine.
I think if you just say exactly how it is and then maybe add at the end, attending in person or via the Zoom link given or something so that it's a very specific remote attendance.
Yeah, and the meeting agenda that I send out, it says there that you can attend either person or hybrid, being via Zoom or whatever.
Right, they can attend in either way, but I think we need to clarify the voting part, right?
Because we've had them vote before over
I think you
Zoom,
have.
so I would just say either via the Zoom link given or, they can't call in on the phone and vote. I don't know.
No.
We're specifying 2 specific ways that they can.
For the longevity of the document, I don't think we're going to go away from Zoom anytime, but it might just be worth saying by phone or video conference call or something like that, more generic.
There you go.
In case it zooms down and you have to use
Video conference, that's good.
or something like
Um,
We'll have to revisit it when
Oh,
artificial
virtual.
intelligence gets to the point where we can no longer discern if it's a real person on the other end of a virtual meeting.
The AI is voting for you.
Well, these are heavy duty.
on 4.3, the part I was uncomfortable with, no member shall discuss the case with any other parties there too. Does that include, it says
At the grocery store in the produce section?
like we haven't,
I know.
we have run into each other at the grocery store and we've talked about TMAC. Like Jeff and Lisa and I, we didn't plan it, we didn't mean to have a meeting.
Are we going to jail is what she's saying?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm trying to clarify the expectation. It says that you can seek information from other TMAC members, but you can't discuss it with other parties. And I'm just trying to clarify the difference there. Or does other parties mean someone who's not on TMAC?
Well, you can say that it's anyone who's not on the list of bodies
Previously mentioned. Okay.
Does that mean you can't talk to your spouse about it?
But why can't you talk to citizens about?
That's my question on this. Isn't the purpose of TMAC to kind of get a feedback and input from the group that you're representing supposedly?
That was my issue with it. I talked to,
We're supposed to be
there's
talking.
that line
to
between the lobbying and whatever, but I'm friends with a lot of bike walk people. And so it's like, I'll just be discussing the issue with, what kind of ideas have you seen from other cities to kind of help me get a little bit of input? And I'm like, wait a second, does that mean I have to put a wall in between me and bike walk?
What if you just say shall discuss, any items up for vote with the intent to be lobbied or with the intent to be persuaded? I don't know. I guess we're still, if we're representing our part of the city.
But we're not representing.
I'm sorry.
So it seems like you should get feedback.
You could limit it to parties directly involved in a decision to be made. That way you could still talk to neighbors, you could still talk to community groups, but if there were a specific decision to be made, a party to that decision, someone advocating for it, couldn't talk to you to lobby you. You could try to tease out specific people to block, if that's what.
More obvious than planning, everybody's coming for their particular. And they all
Versus like, it says I can't express an individual opinion prior to the meeting.
On how you intend to vote.
Yeah,
But we
I think
vote
that's
on
from a
so-
public perspective.
Oh. Like, if I ran into Lisa in the produce section of the grocery store and said, oh, this is coming up this week, and I'm considering these, I'm thinking these things and these things, like, are we just not supposed to talk about TMAC business ever outside
Well,
of
it
these?
says
I'm
that
not
you may
saying, why
seek
would it be a
information.
problem if you did? I
Well-
mean, I think that's expected. You would wanna,
Well,
you
that's
can
what
go to lunch with each other, I don't see any reason why that's a problem. This
Yeah,
isn't a
that's not
binding,
prohibited.
for one, it's not even a binding committee, it's not like you
Right,
guys.
we're not making any decisions, we're just recommending.
And that's why the TMAC members may seek information from other TMAC members. TMAC members are not barred.
But like George says, we're not actually making new laws,
I
we
would
are
think you would
advising
want to
on
speak
everything we
into-
do.
Probably not.
I mean, I think you wanna talk to each other. You
well, I
wanna
do
talk
want
People
to.
who have a different perspective, you wanna gather questions.
I think this is a different type
This
of
is a
committee.
different animal.
Well, this is why I
Yeah.
was concerned about the language, because it just seemed like, don't ever talk about anything with anyone, ever.
In general, things like not communicating your bias on decisions you made beforehand, it's just off like a counselor tweeting out a ton of information or you help or might give information to like a developer or whatever.
I almost wonder if 4.3 can be
Right.
stricken,
That's why I
because
was worried about.
4.2 talks about conflicts of interest. And that's really our only concern,
that's really-
is making advisements that will bring us monetary gain or personal gain.
I'm happy to strike that.
I would say let's strike 4.3.
Seconded.
Okay.
Okay.
Aye.
It's like, and if you do talk to me when it's malfeasance, I'm like, okay, I just needed to clarify.
Nice to meet you in the grocery store.
We can still talk about me.
You have to know, I totally freaked out, because these guys were both in the produce section, and I was like, we can't talk about TMAC!
We were being very careful. Okay.
In the media was like helicopter. Real,
I know it's ironic because
real
we are
joy speaks to-
not that important, but if it's on a rule, I'm gonna try to follow it, because so I wanna
That's
make
how
sure we
I
have
am, yeah.
rules that we like. Okay, next, anything else on page 4? I know everyone's looking at the clock. Page 5? Length of meetings, 5.8, about that one. At 1:30, TMAC will finish the item presently being considered. No additional items will be heard after that time unless there's a motion by a member of TMAC requesting to continue the agenda.
Or truncate.
It gives you guys,
Or terminate said item.
it gives you guys the option to take care of stuff.
I like that. I'm fine with that. I'm just like, is everyone okay with that? Okay.
This almost, being nitpicky with the text here, almost seems to prevent TMAC from wrapping up before 1:30 if they chose to, by a very strict reading of the
Oh.
rule, which I don't think
I'll
anyone
take
is
care of
going to
that.
do because that's self-punishing. No
If
one
the
can do
meeting
that.
is still in progress at 1:30, TMAC will finish items, like maybe just say, if still.
Yeah, I don't know that it's a problem because nobody's going to want to.
I know what you're saying. We're done with everything at 1:15, which is never the case, but
Quite a valiant effort.
we cannot dismiss until 1:30.
Yeah, okay. I think
I'll fix
that's
that.
understood. Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else? Anyone would like to talk about in preparation for a vote next month? Okay. Well, since we have not yet adopted these bylaws.
Oh, I have a question.
Please.
It says that if you want to propose an amendment to the bylaws, it has to be done not less than 3
unanimously.
days prior to the meeting at which the amendment is to be voted upon. Don't we have to have like a 2-week notification? You can't really add that to the agenda 3 days ahead?
Joseph?
The notice and stuff has to go out 24 hours.
So the agenda
before
can be
meeting.
modified 3 days ahead?
I believe so, because it's part of the
Okay.
notification that we put out.
Okay.
I love that when I get an agenda of this, tomorrow's meeting.
We try to put it out earlier.
6.2, a rule or procedure may be suspended or waived at any meeting by unanimous vote of TMAC. Do we want to keep it as unanimous
The majority?
instead of majority?
I think so, because those are gonna be limited situations, we probably all wanna be.
Okay.
Because we know that you were lobbying people what by the bananas, and so a majority might be easier for you to get.
It's for when you try to sneak in the rule that says Joy can get rid of anyone at any time.
That's exactly what I'm gonna do. Yes, Vern, because we have not yet adopted the bylaws,
Okay.
we don't have to vote on this. Do you want to tell us about the summit invitation, and then we'll do?
There's two things, Connected Community Summit, which is Move Utah, Get Healthy Utah, and another one. All three of them are combining again to do the Connected Community Summit on September 18th and 19th, right here in Provo. Mayor Kafusi will be giving the opening welcoming and address. And then we have a bike walk expert that will be there for our walking tour. We have a bike tour. I'm on the planning committee for this, and it's in our own backyard. So if TMAC members would like to attend, let me know. Let me know soon so we can get you registered for the conference. Because it's no travel, the conference is right in our backyard. I believe that Lisa went last year, right?
Mhm.
You and I went last year?
Yeah, and Jeff was there too,
And
or,
Jeff-
not Jeff, Greg.
Greg presented last year.
I presented.
So are you guys planning on coming too?
I went last year.
You went last year?
Yeah, I felt you did this year.
Okay.
I really liked it.
I thought it was very diverse. I thought it was very informative. I really like some of the design, the new cutting edge of the bicycle design stuff that I saw. So anyway, it's really informative. If you want to come.
If I came for, just looking at my calendar, but I've got classes on Wednesday. If I came for a few hours.
Just come in when you want.
Because they're classes.
The registration.
If someone says something,
Yeah.
just let me know. I'll take care of it. I'm on the planning.
Do we have to pay to go to it?
Yeah, we
I know
pay for you
Vern
guys to go.
personally. Get out of my way.
Yeah. Oh, so that's conflicting with the TMAC committee meeting, that Noah just showed me, so.
Well, we could sit at the same table at lunch and collaborate then.
I will
Unless
probably
the doctor
be at
can lend
that,
us
conference since I'm on the planning committee.
So you'll be gone to the conference on the 19th.
Yeah, but please, hold your TMAC meeting,
Unless we're all at the conference.
unless you're all at the conference.
That's a bylaw. You're kind of key to that.
TMAC on.
So can we have someone send us the link to this, and we
Yeah,
can,
we'll send you a link.
and say,
I would like to look and see if the classes, because some of the
Yeah.
classes last year were snoozers. So there were some that were really inspiring, and then there were some that was like, okay, I don't actually
do
care
you want
about
to give
this.
us the deadline? If we're going to attend, contact you by what day?
Yeah, we'll look what the deadline date is for
Okay.
registration and send
Okay,
that
send
out
that
to you.
out. Okay,
Okay.
thank
When
you.
is the next TMAC meeting?
The 19th
That
of
day?
September.
19th.
The
At
19th.
12:30.
So, and you're not gonna change that because of this?
Well, I know,
You just decided?
it's up to you, TMAC. I'm gonna be at that conference.
Well, we
because
can't
I'm-
make a motion, but I would highly recommend that we have a meeting September 12th instead.
The week before?
Because we've missed quite a few meetings, we want to get these bylaws
Yeah, I don't wanna
done.
cancel
Joy
the
is
meeting.
really tired of being,
Well, I don't know, I'm not trying to complain, I just.
Joy doesn't want you to know, but she's done.
No.
I don't see any reason why we cannot hold that the week in advance, and we'll freeze it, all the TMAC members, if they want to go, they can go to the Connected Community.
Or you could do it the week after, and then we could talk about the conference as
I'm
well.
fine with that too.
The October meeting, we already discussed moving, back a
forward.
week.
So we could do the
So let's
September
move
one
back
back
a
a week
week.
too.
Okay.
Let's do 26, and then October the 24th,
So
That
the
was not-
September 26th and October 24th,
okay?
We need to let Channel 17 know.
and I have one more item, Joy, if you're okay.
I am always okay with lengthening our meetings.
So this item here, we get the Utah Transportation Commission once a year if we're lucky in Utah, bless you, in Utah County. And this one we get to host at Provo City's council chambers tomorrow at 8:30 in the morning. So this is an interesting meeting if you like transportation like I do. This is the appointed committee by the governor, and these 7 members make big-time decisions about where funding goes and projects across the state of Utah. 4 of those committee members are by UDOT region, because there's 4 UDOT regions, and the other 3 are at large. Some of the people you may recognize on that committee is Natalie Gochner, Lou Kramer, who used to be the head of the World Trade Center, Utah, Senator Van Tassel out of Vernal, previous senator, state senator. Anyway, if you want to come, you're
Is
more
that
than
all day
welcome
long?
to.
What's the nature
You know,
of the meeting?
it's 8:30 to 11:30.
And what is it?
This is where a lot of mayors will get up and kind of say, we need some funding here our way too, and not everybody else's way. And, it's interesting, mostly UDOT staff, it is pretty formal. Most people will be in suit and tie. I will be tomorrow morning. And the mayor will be welcoming, the Transportation Commission to our brand new city hall, as well as, afterwards, we're gonna serve them BYU ice cream and brownies. So, I gotta sweeten it up somehow, because I need some funding.
If we attended, we would be as audience members, just
Yeah,
watching.
you'd be an audience watching, it's also on YouTube.
Thank you.
Okay?
Thank you.
So.
All right, that's adjourned. Thank you very much, everyone.
Okay.